This is insane. I almost didn't believe it if there wasn't photo evidence to prove that this was a real thing. There was an actress who was on board the Titanic called Dorothy Gibson. She'd been in a couple of like silent movies, and she was one of the survivors of the Titanic. And she survived because she was up late playing cards until like 1 a.m. on the night that the Titanic hit the iceberg. So she was already up there on the deck and awake, and she was one of the first people who was able to get into a lifeboat. So she survived, although she did have to endure watching the whole thing play out and sink and all of that completely traumatizing event. So when she got to New York and she was listed as one of the survivors, she was immediately contacted by some film producers who wanted to make a movie of the sinking of the Titanic. Like literally, as soon as she got to New York, she was approached. And this poor girl, they made the very first movie of the sinking of Titanic. They made it within 1 month of the Titanic sinking. The movie was called Saved from the Titanic, and it came out on the 14th of May, 1912. She wore the exact same clothes that she wore when she survived Titanic. That's how meta they went with this. So she was in a studio replicating the most traumatic event of her life for the cameras. It was basically a bit of a money grab, obviously. It was the very definition of too soon. And the movie got mixed reviews, but it got a lot of backlash about being like a money grab and not respecting all of the lives that were lost. And it really messed up Dorothy. It was reported that, well, she never acted again, for one, but it was reported that she really wasn't coping very well. Now, unfortunately, we can't watch Saved from the Titanic, the 1912 version, because they've lost the movie. The movie reel have been lost to time. But there are still stills from the movie and Dorothy in her very same clothes that she survived the Titanic in. So I just think that's mad, because some people think that the only movie made about Titanic was like James Cameron's Titanic. No, there's been many, many, many movies, but the very first one came out a month after Titanic went down. Bet you didn't know that. There was a recent like drone scan of the wreck of the Titanic. They went down, they sent down like these drones, and they did like the most comprehensive and high resolution 3D scan of the whole wreck. And it brought to light lots of information, lots of details that were perhaps missed by the human eye before. And you can actually check it out yourself. There was a documentary about it, but you can check it out. And there were some really cool design features from the Titanic that I didn't know about. One of them being the first class dining area, which was supposed to be on the top deck, but there wasn't enough like room for it, so it was actually lower down in the boat. So it was middle of the boat, and therefore they didn't have the views. So they faked it with some very clever engineering. They did a double porthole situation to let in extra light, and then they built these fake stained glass windows that went over the porthole so that the double light would go through, and it would look like that they were on the top deck looking out to like beautiful